we,
2 weeks.
we all sit down and we'll call the meeting to order? Lori, come up, come up and join us at the table. Well, some of these, and, yes. Yeah, but that's, here's the agenda, those minutes, something from Socia. Okay. Two pages of minutes. Right, they're put together and then they're put together. Yeah. Oh, so it was, so yeah, wrong. So yes. Oh. Somebody took it wrong here.
Yeah, no, that was.
I'll take the second page. That's how many pieces of paper, only 6 red. No, I just lost these papers, I put them together so that it was easy to not take apart. Because I should have stayed, oh, yeah. So agenda. There's only one, but there's minutes, last meeting. And, that's good. And then that's coming from Socia. Those are working groups, so I'm gonna vote on that. That's our calendar that we're gonna vote on. And then this is information about Hornecker. We're out of minutes. Somebody has the front page, knows that. Okay, so one of you grab the front page, page 1 of the minutes, and we don't have a page 2. Anyway, just say. Okay, so it's 3:01 and we'll call to order the Coastal Resilience Committee meeting, first of 2026. Oh man, I have to keep thinking about that when I write it. To make sure I don't write 2025. Anyway, call to order. The first order of business is the public input. Is there any public input today? I'll wait a respectful moment. Okay, seeing no public input, the next order of business is the approval of the minutes from December 1st, 2025. Can I hear a motion to approve? Second? Okay, Ann seconds, thank you. Now, discussion. Mary, Mary submitted yes, a couple of small changes that I made, Laurel. Yes, and I can send, I just wanted to see if there were any more before I sent them to you. Any other changes?
The only one I noticed is it's Wendley Ferguson, not Wendy, just in case.
Oh,
That's- Yeah,
Wendley.
Wendley.
Okay.
That was. Oh, it's Wendley. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I just want to make sure everyone got her name correctly.
Oh, Wendley.
There-
Okay, thank
There was
you.
a Wendy at the back, at the end, I think. But
Oh, thank you. Anything else? Okay, so all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. So, next order of business is introduction of the new committee, and I just figured it wouldn't really be fair if we just had them introduce themselves. So what will, hopefully you guys can each say a few words, at least say your name and a few words about, what you do on the committee or whatever. We have Lisa Sprague, almost said Lisa again. Lisa Sprague joining our committee. Would you like to say a few words about, you have to push the button so that the green light is on. There you go.
Okay, well, I'm here because I care. I spend an awful lot of time out on the coast of the island in some way, shape, or form, and I study it a lot. And so I just felt like it was time for me to get active again in doing something with the community. So here I am.
Well, thank you. And did you get something from Sarah Bacon? Yeah, so Sarah Bacon wanted to at least have a chance to be introduced to the committee.
Yep, I'm just grabbing on my email. Yeah, Sarah Bacon couldn't be with us today, so she just asked if I would read her comment to all of you. Thanks for having me on this committee. I'm eager to work with all of you to help make a persuasive case for the implementation of appropriate and necessary long-term sustainable solutions to protect our treasured island as the effects of climate change evolve and worsen. Our island depends upon us. In solidarity, warmly, Sarah Bacon.
Very nice. And just because this is your first meeting with us and Sarah is listening on YouTube in virtual land, just to tell you, so Judy Gray, I have been the chair. This is for 4 years. This is my last few action items before I'm no longer the chair of the committee. And I had a almost 40-year career with NOAA as a meteorologist. And so I've been working on coastal issues my whole life. And it just felt like this was a chance to, like you, apply my energy and passion for this so that I could help the town. Nigel, you want to say who you are?
So I'm Nigel Grindley, as you well know. And I'm a scientist by training. My interest here is really as a resident, a full-time resident since 2012, homeowner for 25 years. And one of my roles, I think, on the committee has been really data gathering a little outside the committee. So we collect tidal data for the Great Salt Pond and for the Old Harbor. We collect dune data with Brian Oakley, with Judy here, and George. Where's George? And I've been part of the Corneck Road group with GZA, talking about what's going on there, and trying to push them into thinking about the beach house. So that's me.
Mary Anderson, nice to see you. Welcome aboard. Why am I here? I began getting concerned about, inundation and sea level rise, I think mostly from planning, being on the planning board, because we were beginning to see applicants whose applications were endangered. In other words, their land was vulnerable to sea level rise. And like you, I wanted to get involved and do something, that was helpful. I like bringing people to the committee to be helpful. I like working on the board, on the committee that's working with Nigel and Judy on the Corneck Road with GZA, and also community outreach as well, which I think is a really effective way to get more of the community's voice at the table, and have their voice, to me, means to have their voice in the design and implementation of, becoming more resilient in the future and now and in the future. Yeah.
Let's hear it, Jean-Louis.
Yes. So my name is Jean-Louis Farge. I'm a full-time resident on the island for the last 4 years, 5 years now. And of course, I'm very interested and to understand the impact of global warming on the island. And I've been working with the committee for 1 year. And I was in charge with a group of members about gathering data. And we finish some kind of not a website, but the gathering of the data for the island, who should be live very soon, so everybody can look at it. And I was born in Paris, as you probably. I cannot hide that.
Okay, so
Hi, welcome. I'm excited to have you on board. I became involved because I'm on the planning board, and we were required by law at one point to take a course called Prep RI. which was all about sea level rise. And that got me so interested in climate change as a whole that I've totally absorbed myself for about 2 years into learning all I could about it, and was lucky enough to convince the planning board to form a committee like this one. And my role has been, my focus has been on ordinance changes because I'm on the planning board, to see if we can provide relief for people whose properties are at risk, and community education and engagement.
Hi, Lisa. I'm Ann Salinas. I've been on the CRC for 2 years, but prior to that, it was actually Mary who pulled me in and we facilitated a community engagement event 2.5 years ago. I've been living here year round just for a year, and I've been involved in the community engagement working group, the ordinance planning working group, and the grants working group. And I think what motivates me is the belief and experience that I have working internationally at the community level to see how communities can be most resilient if they work together and collaborate and plan. So I see that as an important role of this committee and advising the town to do the same. So that's why I'm here.
Nora, I want to grab the microphone. And Sophie, you want to turn yours off? Oh, sure.
Hi, Lisa and Sarah, wherever you are out there. I'm Nora Clark. I am the Nature Conservancy's Climate Resilience Coordinator. So I've been in this role for about 9 months now, which is crazy to think of. And really kind of work with the Nature Conservancy on some of the larger Rhode Island climate stuff, but also really most specifically, really support this committee, amazing committee that you guys have here. So I guess kind of some of the things I've done in the last 9 months, really work on building out this Block Island Climate Resiliency kind of story map and webpage, which is on the Nature Conservancy website. So I'll send that to you and Sarah to kind of show you what I've done so far. Really synthesizing and trying to track resilience goals and projects town level wide. So I really examined the hazard mitigation plan and comp plans and kind of put those all together. So I can also send you that document. And then really supporting various aspects of this through public engagement. I go to the 6th grade at Block Island School once, like twice a month, and do a climate lesson with them. So kind of just really trying to invigorate more and more climate education and more focus on this throughout the community too. So, and I've been going to Block Island since I was about 4 years old, but just in the summers, and so full time really just since March. So it's been great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, you guys. That's great. Now, the agenda item to which I have been looking forward for 4 straight years. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing. No. So now it's time for us to discuss and act on the election of a committee chair, a co-chair or vice chair or whatever we call it. And I added a secretary on there because we had talked for a while about having a secretary, but I don't know if we really need one. And Ann and I have gone back and forth. I think we can, unless you think we do, I think we can strike the addition of a secretary. It was just a thought, and so I put it in there so we could discuss it. Otherwise, we can't. You know, if it's not on the agenda, you can't discuss it. Any thoughts on secretary? Okay, good.
Can you just strike it if you have to make a motion?
No, there isn't one now. We would have to establish the position. Oh, no.
Adjust the agenda.
Oh, no, we don't have to adjust the agenda. No, we discussed it, and our action is to not engage in establishing that as a position. I think, we might, do we need to vote on that? I don't think so. It was just an idea. But anyway, so I would like to take this opportunity to nominate Ann Salinas as the chair of the Block Island Coastal Resilience Committee. Are there any other nominations for chair of the Coastal Resilience Committee? Hearing none and acknowledging the giggle. So I've nominated her. I guess I need a second.
Second.
Any further discussion?
We're so grateful.
Yes, we're so very grateful. And okay, all in favor of Ann Salinas being the chair, aye. Okay, any nays? Ann, congratulations. And I think at this point, I will now turn over the gavel, the imaginary gavel to Ann, and you can run the
Okay.
co-chair or vice chair. Do you know what it's
Yes.
called in our minutes? I mean, okay, so
Okay.
that's fine. Yeah.
So I'd like to nominate Judy Gray as vice chair. I move to nominate her.
Second. Okay, so you gotta, and then you can ask, is there
Any discussion?
or any other?
Oh, any other nomination? Okay, so we can move to, and
Do you need a
Oh.
second?
second. Thought I.
All in favor?
So any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries and we have a new vice chair. Thank you, Judy.
Is that because you're not chair or because?
Secretary and chair. But it's. Actually, I am honored and grateful for the position that I've had for 4 years. It's been a blast. I've really enjoyed it. And I feel like we started with nothing. And
That's right.
you guys made this happen. I mean, we have worked as a team to get where we are today. And I'm really excited about Ann taking over the leadership because she is going to pay attention to different stuff than I do. And it's time for a lot of the stuff, like spending the budget, which I just didn't have a lot of motivation to do. And I just kept spending my own money, Anyway, so, stuff, she will have different priorities. I think it's time. And I'm really excited. So, and
Thank
we'll
you.
be a team. So
Thank you all for putting your confidence in me. And bear with me. I'm very mindful of the big shoes that I'm filling with Judy, but I'm also mindful of how committed and engaged this committee is. And I really see myself as a coordinator and supporter of our collective efforts. So I'm also delighted that Judy's willing to serve as vice chair. So we're not losing any of her experience, knowledge, connections, institutional memory of how this has all evolved over the past 4 years. So I know we'll be discussing the working groups under agenda item 6, and I'm looking forward to hearing from everyone about what you would like to focus on in the coming year. But I also would encourage you all to contribute, as much as you can in the areas where you feel like you have the most to offer. And I would also like in the next month to, reach out individually to each of you and sort of hear your ideas and get your feedback. So you can expect to hear from me. So we can move to the next agenda item, which is discuss and act to approve the 2026 Block Island Coastal Resilience Committee meeting calendar, which is a handout here. Basically, it's the first Tuesday of every month except November, which is the first Wednesday at 2:30, so we don't conflict with the elections.
I so move to accept this calendar.
Okay, have a second?
Second?
Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so the calendar carries, the 2026 calendar. Put it on your schedules. Next agenda item is number 6, town and council updates. Update from town council. I personally am not aware of any CRC related updates.
I have no update from the
Okay.
town council, no.
Okay, great. Update from town planner. We have Allison Ring with us online.
Hi, everyone. Hi. So I can provide an update on Corneck Road and the NIF-WIF funding. I know, Ann, you had sent some questions, and since there's some new members and those listening out on YouTube, we can kind of go through a brief status update and some funding award announcement. So as you all know, it's been a multi-year effort. We've completed a vulnerability assessment, done some conceptual planning for the study area, and now we're currently in design phase. The current grant and the contract with GZA involves advancing the Scotch Beach Road pathway, the dune pathways, those through final design. So the current scope should bring those to 100% design and permitting. As you guys are aware, recently the town council had provided some guidance where we had been focusing on the beach parking lot design. So we're adjusting that, kind of pausing that for now and reallocating effort to focus first on the town beach pavilion and the associated dune gaps, since that's a vulnerability. And so the contract was revised with GZA, and so now we're going to detail some vulnerability there, evaluate some options for the pavilion and conceptual designs. I think one of the questions there was, yeah, that scope won't take the pavilion to full design, but it will involve like public input and some concepts. The town did just receive in December an award announcement from Rhode Island DEM, their application to NIF-WIF. So this was the state's application. The other NIF-WIF application was the town directly to NIF-WIF, where we were the award recipient. In this case, the state has been applying for funding on behalf of municipalities, and this round they were awarded, and two projects were awarded, one for New Shoreham and one for Johnston. So New Shoreham received $439,000 from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation through Rhode Island DEM. The official award announcement or ceremony is scheduled for January 22nd. Still finalizing the details on that. So that funding again is more because the town we weren't quite there with implementation, like design ready. So it will further design work along Corneck Road. Focusing on nature-based resilience projects, and put the town in a good position to pursue construction dollars after those are designed and permitted. So the sites listed there are within that next phase, that funding were the harbor side, like the marsh, the beach pavilion, and the southern end of Corneck Road. And then community engagement, of course, will be involved in that as well. And then there's a project team meeting with GZA and their sub that's involved with the beach pavilion concepts, January 21st. Members of the project team, CRC members, have been involved with organizing that meeting, and Mike Shea. And so they're going to go inside the existing pavilion, take a look at that, and we'll have a virtual meeting as well that day. So, I mean, great news, additional dollars to help continue the resiliency work along Corneck Road. So this will just further the work that's currently underway and natural progression there, and set the town up for some additional implementation dollars in the future. So if there's any questions, hopefully I can help answer those now. And then if something I can't answer, I'll get back to you with some written responses to anything that you guys have
Great.
questions on.
Thank you, Allison. Judy?
Yes, I had a question about, I can't remember if I just thought of it or if I actually did it, but did we invite Keith Stover and Amy Land to our GZA visit on the 21st at the pavilion. I know, I meant to put
I
something.
know you did email about that. You were gonna reach out. You offered to reach out. So either you or I, it's up to, we can.
Why don't we both do it? And that
Okay.
makes it double extra whammy.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah,
I have a question, Allison.
sure.
Since the parking lot is temporarily being postponed, how much of that money was spent towards 60% or whatever, 60% design, I believe?
Oh, well, it was more conceptual. You mean the concept of the pavers and the stormwater management there?
Yeah,
So yes, there was some work and billing involved with the work that had been done up to that point, but it didn't go all the way to 60% design. But it's still valuable work that we can utilize. I think it wasn't necessarily that the town didn't want to pursue that, but looking first, kind of tabling it, pausing it, let's consider the options for the pavilion, and then we can go back to that work. So hopefully it's not, lost effort and funding there.
so, but what I wanted to know was any money spent towards the planning of the 60% design?
Yes.
I mean, any hours that were billed, the town, receives the invoices and it comes out of the grant funding,
I know, I just want to know if you know the numbers.
Oh,
not offhand. I have all their invoices, but I didn't go through and
I think,
find.
Allison, is it accurate to say that the funds that would have been used to carry that to full design are reallocated to the beach pavilion?
Yes.
Conceptual design?
Any work, right. dollars remaining. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But how is it possible to get the pavilion to 60% design,
It's not.
It's
gonna
not going to
be
happen. No.
Conceptual design.
only conceptual?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But this next, but the additional dollars that the town received could move it forward.
That was my follow-up
Yes.
question. Okay.
Yeah, so the NIFWIF funds that we just were approved for
Yeah.
can be used to take it further in the design, a higher percentage of design beyond conceptual, hit 60 or 100 or whatever we can get to.
Couple questions. Oh, did you have a question?
No.
Jill? Okay. Couple questions for me. One is it correct that there's still funds remaining under the original grant for implementation of this
Correct.
Scratch Beach? Okay.
Yeah,
and then-
about $200,000. That's from state money, the
Okay.
RIB grant.
And for the new one, we would follow a similar process of identifying a contractor and engineering firm to do the work?
Yeah,
Or-
I haven't seen yet because it's just brand new where the town hasn't received any like written agreement or details on the so
Okay.
that'll be incoming. Yeah, what the requirements are from the state.
So we're basically a sub grantee to
Yes,
RIDM. Okay.
yes.
Any other questions? Yeah, Nigel.
The meeting with GZA on the 21st, is that the same as the meeting that we arranged with GZA at the last phone meeting? I'm looking
Yeah.
at Judy here.
Yes, this is the one that,
And did I understand that they're coming here?
that's correct.
Okay, so I guess I didn't know that from our
Yes.
last meeting.
Yes,
That's a sort of an update.
Yeah,
It's a-
they're gonna come on the first ferry in the morning. I think they get here at like 8:30 or something like that. And they're gonna, and then leave at 2.
But
So
there is
I wondered if it would be worthwhile saying anything about our last meeting with GZA when we started really thinking about the beach house.
Sure.
I mean, certainly, I think it's good for the committee as a whole to know that this is a really broad agenda, that they're looking sort of at everything to do with the beach house. And that includes not having it even where it or its parking lot is. And one of the things that I raised in that conversation was the fact that, from a design point now, thinking about sea level rise, it's almost at the worst place you could put it on Cornneck Road because it's where the dune area to the east of the road is at its narrowest. And, you know, I think it's really important that we at least think about the future and whether we should be really reciting that. And I have no idea practically what that would involve. It may be an impractical idea, but I certainly think it's something we need to look at because there are much broader portions of that dune further north between where it is now and Scotch Beach Road. So I just wanted everyone to think about that and you know, maybe even come back to the subcommittee, the working group, with what ideas they think are important here.
And this is why I send the document and we show with the architect and GZA when we open the conversation. So everybody outside of the subcommittee can look at the issue of the sea level rise, how it's going to be, the wetland, the motion of the dune one way, the motion of the beach the other way. Like this is very complex kind of location. So I think we need to have a very open discussion about that. And I want you to add, I'm sorry, also, Alison, I don't know if you had the time or if you will have the time, so we can access the GIS. We have the whole collection of the data, if you feel like we can have that on the website of the town.
What do you reference? Of course, you can have the GIS, but I'm not sure what is this related to our last call with
Lee, the student who.
Right. So I was awaiting like her finalizing on her end and sending out. I didn't receive any correspondence after that meeting, like as far as finalizing on her end, and then how she was supposed to send me the information to then post. So
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I will ask her to send because this is ready to go. So now that's it. We can have public the GIS
to share. Yeah, I need to. I don't have the location to then to share it on the town's page.
Okay, I don't know. That's an issue.
Allison, how do we go about getting a place on the town website to share it? Or how can we support?
Well, I don't have the person's work, like the final link.
But you said once you get it, you also don't have a place to put it, or you do have?
No, I mean, it's the town GIS, it's ArcGIS Online, the town's webpage. So we discussed posting a map. Well, it's an interactive map alongside the other existing town interactive maps. So we can place it there as the I guess the plan. How we do that, not sure. So, but just I need the link with the location to then it needs to be shared so that I can become kind of an owner of it. I mean, it's all the back end that you don't need to know, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I do have one other question on the so beach pavilion work that GZA is doing, conceptual design. I think you mentioned there's still going to be a community engagement. Is that around the conceptual design once it's developed, sharing that in a community forum, or was there any discussion about?
Prior to, yeah, I don't know if at the December meeting that came up the timeline, but we'll connect in January and kind of discuss that timeline, what makes sense. I would think some input prior to developing the conceptual design would be helpful.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we talked about maybe doing a survey in addition to doing something in person or virtual. You know, we talked about a bunch of different options for educating people about what we're doing and collecting information from them. But we haven't settled on any particular technology.
Okay. So when we talk about the working groups later, just so everyone's clear that the Corn Neck Road Working Group has served as has been part of the advisory committee to the GZA project. So we'll rely on that working group to report back to the fuller committee. But as you think about what you want to participate on, that's what that committee will likely focus on, including the new grant, I would imagine, since it's still Corn Neck Road focused. All right. Anything else, Allison?
Nope.
Thank you. Next is update from our Block Island Climate Resilience Coordinator, specifically Brown University update.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so I just have a couple things that I wanted to share to start this new year. Really, the biggest one is the Brown Environmental Class Partnership. And so just to remind everyone, that is this introductory environmental science class at Brown that has like probably 6 to 8 like community partners that the students are broken into smaller groups to do some research or creation of materials or whatever. And so they worked with us, and I brought some of them here, or some of the work here that you guys can look through after the meeting. But ours was that they finished that up in early December, and I was able to go up there and do the presentation, or see their presentation, which was really nice to see these, very 18-year-old Brown kids being really excited about Block Island, most of them having never been to Block Island. So that was really cool to kind of see them. And here's their work. I'm really excited for using this in whether it's within other resources or, at Earth Day, things like that. Certainly working on getting the PDFs of them, so some small changes can be made, but they're really awesome to look at, and really cool work that they did. So they did some about kind of climate smart gardening, so about like soil health and smart irrigation systems, rain gardens. They did a little one about kind of buffer zones and what that is, and went into and looked at, some policies about CRMC and things like that. Just kind of a little like what even is low impact development in general, planting rain garden benefits. And then their last one was, so some native plants, kind of going through a little guide, buying, where to buy, planting, why natives. So just kind of some cool work that they were able to put together for us, which is nice. And yeah, they have really great partnership and really great, and would definitely want to be helpful in the future as well. So as they continue to do that. Yeah, so I'll send the PDFs that I have. I'm also waiting for some editable copies so we can make a couple of small edits, but I'll send the PDFs that I have to you all. And then my other next update is really just kind of a recap of the Brown University Sensor Program update, which is the same one that I shared with you guys in December, which is that kind of chugging along here. Now we have talked to Jeffrey Wright of Block Island Power Company, and he's said that the utility pole across from Bimmy should work for us. And then Mike is all set to left. Mike said we're all set in terms of the south parking lot location. George Davis is going to talk to Bimmy. That's kind of the last update I heard, is that he's going to chat with Bimmy about the use of their dock. And if not, then possibly one of the other docks close there. And then the kind of last conversation with the town about it was that Amy Land has said that the top of the police station would be appropriate for the receiver. And so that's kind of tentatively waiting for just on the physical top, not the tower itself, just the physical top. And so kind of waiting on Bimmy basically a little bit for George to talk about if they might be open to that overwater sensor at Bimmy. And so, yeah, TBD if he's brought that up with them yet, but he said he was going to bring it up at the next board meeting for Bimmy.
So the receiver will be on the top of the police station?
Yeah, that's
Roof? Okay.
roof. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's kind of the last thing we've talked about with them.
Does the top of the police station have direct line of sight?
Yeah.
Do you-
So we talked about it with in recent emails with Saul, as we think that it would work. I think basically kind of still hoping that would work, and then when Saul comes back out, maybe making a full decision. But yeah, I think there is direct line of sight. But
Did you get any understanding of why we couldn't use the tower?
basically, security, just high security, and the concerns that if it was breaking, that we would have to go up and down a lot. So that was the answer I got. The receiver, sorry, the sensors. So the sensors have to have a receiver within like a line of sight is best. So the three sensors are one outside of Bimini or one across the street from Bimini, really trying to capture the flooding that happens there. The other hope is kind of over water at Bimini, right in that area. And then the third place is on South Parking Lot in the so an over water in the South Parking Lot at Town Beach. To really kind of start to try to collect that data on when the water is there, how deep is the water, you know, and when are we noticing that happening, specifically at Bimini, in relation to the water level as well there. So kind of.
Yeah, these are overland water level sensors, except the one on the dock at
Yeah.
Bimini, which would be over water, like the one that we have down at Old Harbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so TBD on that, kind of still waiting to figure out exactly what would work for the Bimini location, and then kind of revisiting the receiver component for the town. But that's kind of the current update of the current status of that.
And I know I've asked you this, but is there any cost involved
Not at the
that we
moment.
need to
Not at
think
the
about
moment.
for the town? Okay.
No, yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna be a live data?
Yeah, yeah. So it'd be live data. So it'd be a website that you could like actually go to and see.
Okay.
But
And
again,
on the
this is
Conservancy or on the-
not
No.
sure yet exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how he kind of, because this is like a Brown project that is throughout the state, is kind of trying to include these environmental sensors. So it's a kind of a bigger project, hoping to get 3 out here. So
Yeah, it's most likely that it be hosted at Brown and that we just link to it.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Until the end of the project, and then we have to figure out who's gonna manage it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the data, yeah.
My 2 other kind of mini updates are Ann and I had been talking about, we had applied for a mini grant from the town, which we did not get, but we are planning on still doing kind of a mini version of our series, which would be just 3 events, kind of currently discussing one in February, one in March, and then trying to plan a resilience walk for April. So I was able to go to the resilience walk in actually it was in it was in Warren. Yeah, in Warren. And it was just really great to have members of the community come out and kind of go to some certain places that, you know, talk about resilience on Block Island, but also, you know, just in general. And so really planning that for April. And then hoping that depending on how that goes and getting it feedback from that to hopefully try to continue that at least, you know, a couple times in the summer as well. So Ann and I.
But through the Nature
But yeah,
Conservancy.
like I would try to lead them, continue.
Is this similar to what you and I have done with the students, like when we walk around?
I didn't go with you that time, but I think probably would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I almost went with you that time. but I
Okay.
didn't actually.
Yeah, those are fun. And so, yeah, the rest, I mean, pull in the rest of the committee if you're doing
Oh,
lots
yeah.
of you know, that,
Yeah.
because I've certainly done this for the students
Yeah.
at the school a couple of times.
Yeah.
And so, you know, also we each tell our own stories.
Yeah, that was actually a really great part of the Warren Resilience Walk was like that people would just, everyone would kind of share ideas or share, oh, I saw this once, or so that's really why we were hoping we could do one, you know, in April or early enough, and then kind of try to grow it and build on it throughout the summer. And then the last thing is that Ann, Sosha, and I continue to work on this resource that relating to kind of mitigating impacts of flooding and erosion, kind of a guidebook type thing that we've been working on. And so we're really trying to draw on best practices and local guides and to try to create really a practical guide aimed at actually people, you know, whether it's about how to organize things in your basement or what, you know, how to, again, kind of some of this stuff in terms of rain gardens. And so we've been kind of meeting basically every month or so to try to pull that information together and really trying to plan to share a draft both with you guys and also talking about it with Conservation Commission in February to try to get more ideas and kind of move it further along. And the one thing we were noticing is that maybe that could be a potential use of funds if at some point when we create this guidebook, that we could use that kind of maybe as a good opportunity for if that's still printing. Yeah.
Looking at the data we gather, we can see that a lot of maybe 80% of the building who are at risk are in the
Yeah.
what is called preserve district, the historical district. So there is an impact about the building, and because if you decide to raise the mechanical, how you preserve the building to be in the way historical and how, but this is a, I don't know, it's a very
That's a good
important
point.
fact. Then there is an overlap between preservation,
Yeah.
sea level rise, and typical building.
Yeah, that's a good
law.
point.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah. Awesome. Those are my updates.
Okay, thank you, Nora. Next item is update from the chair. I don't have anything. Judy? Okay.
Sitting.
Number 7 is, oh,
I'm supposed to share something for ordinances.
but we're gonna get down to the working groups, yeah. So number 7 is to discuss and act to set the agenda for 2026. What are the committee's priorities? And there were a few questions related to that. Setting the subject matter areas for our 2026 calendar meetings, considering winter and summer schedules and priorities, balancing meetings to plan and work with those where we have speakers. So I would like to open the floor to anyone with ideas about specific subject matter areas that we should consider for the 2026 meetings. For example, I know we've invited many of the researchers who are working on different Block Island studies to speak over the past year. Are there any in the 2026? Which of those do we anticipate having come back?
So sorry. At one point, we were talking about contacting Kim Korath to
Mhm.
share the Rhode Island resilience plan with us.
Mhm.
And on that one, wanted to make sure that the town council, that we did it when the town council might be available, because it's the state plan. And they need to know what the state is up to. Anyway,
Also, this is going back to Judy's time, invite Maria Stelk, the Executive Director, National Association of Wetland Managers, was on your checklist, to-do list? In terms of, you're just asking now for guests, right? For guest speakers?
Not only, but yeah, it will be other.
Also, is Allison still here, Allison?
yes.
Yes.
Is there a point at which you could clarify your role with this committee now that we have a new year beginning?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, what, right now, would you like me to talk to the town? I could talk to the town manager and get like something in writing for the committee?
Yeah,
Just so we're all clear on the same page. Obviously, you know, I'm a part-time consultant for the town, very limited hours. I do planning and GIS work for the town. But I've been filling in as far as helping support, like as a liaison to the town for this committee. But I've been doing the grant work as well for the town. So my work has kind of, I guess, the focus as far as my support for the committee, but really the town is helping with grant writing related to resiliency, planning related to planning related to resiliency, hazard mitigation plan, and grant management and project management for those grants that I had already, applied for. So that's been kind of where my time has been spent.
Allison, this is Judy. Will you be the person who will be managing the new NIFWIF money?
I I don't know. I haven't spoke with
Okay,
Amy about that, if there's any changes being planned.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
And I think we have tabled and need to reschedule a joint meeting with the Block Island Conservation or Conservancy. I always mix the two up. Conservation.
Okay. Any other?
There was a talk, I believe, when we have this meeting with the conservancy about the overlap, but maybe to bring some advice or to have a booklet for that's.
That's, yeah.
So that's okay. Because some part are already there, like I can see
Yeah.
that.
Right.
So can gather all of this.
Yes.
what
I'm hoping
to show you a draft of on.
February 3rd.
Okay. Because I can have some input. Okay.
Yeah, maybe we could. invite-
Now, the last item I was,
Okay.
my last item may already be covered by the subcommittees, but from my perspective, after we, in addition to dealing with GCA, the top priority ought to be an island-wide risk assessment process. And so I'd like to see us get started on that, especially talking to the town council first to see if there's any staffing that can be provided, because that involves engineering and whatnot. But I think that that's a priority.
Okay, thank you. A reminder too, that that the town of New Shoreham will be developing its new comprehensive plan this
Mhm.
year. So we would want to weigh in on that. So that will be a priority for the year. Any other thoughts? Yes. And maybe, you already said, Nora, that you're going to share the sort of review that you did of the hazard mitigation and comprehensive plan with all the coastal resilience related items. So that'd be a good thing to revisit and look at for the new people. Who's meeting?
We just found out.
Oh. Is that open to the public or is that?
Yeah, I-
Okay,
No, it's,
Oh,
I don't think.
just your
I
committee.
think it is. I
I
just,
think that- well, in the sense that they're all meetings are open to the public, but
oh,
it's not. It's the annual update for the committee members.
It's open to the public,
Yeah.
9 to 10:30 on Thursday. Okay.
Oh, are you talking about the hazard mitigation plan?
Yes,
Yeah.
so who's required to come to this?
We haven't really discussed who the liaisons are or points of contact, but the point of contact for this has been Mary and me. These, I think you and I are the 2 points of contact for the hazard mitigation and flood management plan. And Charlene was in here earlier and I mentioned that, and she asked that because this is just a 1-year update, that we not change people midstream. You know, maybe when we actually rewrite the plan is a good time to initiate a new person. But anyways, that was just her input.
Okay,
So-
so I'm not coming.
You don't have to. Yeah, good one.
Okay.
any other thoughts on priorities or meeting subject matter?
So this is Judy, and obviously we have to keep weaving in the GZA public outreach meetings into our schedule.
Mm-hmm.
They want to do one in the summer. They want, I think there's one before that, and we will get the schedule out, but
And with the new grant, there would be, it sounds like.
yeah, there'll be
potential
another
for-
reporting
yeah.
requirement with the new grant as well. That's correct.
Yes, good point.
And I think it's really never too soon to start thinking about what do we want our summer
Mhm.
confab to be. So every summer we try and do a big event around coastal resilience. And That's kind of a task for the public outreach
Yeah.
or public information and community engagement committee, but if anybody has any big ideas, I think, that, now's the time to get them on the table.
I've been talking to Leah Hill from Nantucket and working with Bimmy on, not Bimmy, I'm sorry,
Byra.
Byra, on getting her here as well and working with Byra to reach more people in a community outreach sort of setting.
Yeah. And
And,
that's,
and then she just wrote back to Anne. Anne's been writing to her over the past week.
yeah.
And
So
she
she's
said-
proposing April, and I went back to her and said, with some dates in April or early May.
Like May 2nd.
Yeah, May 2nd, April 25th. So we're thinking of a Saturday afternoon event. She would get here on a Friday, spend some time. We'd show her around, meet with different community stakeholders, do the event on Saturday and then leave on Sunday. So we'll see what she says.
Yeah.
I think that's likely to happen. It's just the date hasn't been confirmed. I do think like our last summer, we had the GZA's community stakeholder engagement presentation of the options was the basis for our broader community engagement event. And sounds like maybe that would be the timing would, I don't know what the timing, but maybe that's something to discuss with them when they're here.
Yep.
But I think that worked well. And I think if the beach pavilion, we can gain some momentum on that in the coming year, that would be a good thing to vet with the broader summer population.
And I don't know if it's too much charge of work for the committee or we talked likely about having maybe an exhibit in the beach house for the summer where we can express and describe what we figure out, what we found out about all the sea level rise the last year. So depending of the budget, how many people want to work on that, could be smaller, bigger. But it's this is a point where there are so many people in the summer. Yeah. Everybody will see that and start to understand what is the issue. So,
It's a great space to use for community
yeah, exactly. So I'm ready to work on that with everybody. We can figure out that.
Good point.
Yeah, I brought up last meeting, I think I had reached we had had a meeting with Rosemary Kennelly and we had reached out to Dave Sniffen about possibly a little art installation, but I have not heard
Oh.
back yet. So I have not heard back. So but to that point, I think it'd be really important and cool to do, a poster or a painting or something related to that in the beach house.
The data we have now, and so that look.
If we can get a screen there, that's great too.
Yeah.
To show some of the information, like when you spoke a few months ago to clarify what was written in the paper, that is so helpful to have on a screen there that's constantly showing all that great data that you've collected so people can be more educated and understand, as you say, in a space where they're already going. I think it's such a good building to use for that.
The
And-
motion of the dune,
Yeah,
the last 50 years is surprising.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
How the beach is going to be wider, and like how the motion are working. So.
sure. Just to, I'll hand this to you in a second, but just agreeing with you, yeah, to show those images that you showed us when we spoke with GZA, those would be great to see there for the public.
Very easy to understand, and what I want to say is the 1 foot raise of the ocean is in 25 years, maybe 20 years. So it's very short.
Yeah.
It's not in 100 years. We will see that. Hope so.
When-
But it's very short.
Yeah.
The timing is very short. So every decision are slow in general in the urban design. So it's important to show that.
I don't know if you all had a chance to look at the Coastal Institute's, the demonstration site for Block Island that they presented at the last meeting. But they have a really cool photo where you slide the photo to see sort of, it's actually 2004. It's only a 20-year difference on the bluffs and But if we could do something like that, but looking at the or Crescent Beach and the town beach. But I do want to move us along because we have a few more agenda items. I also want to mention that we do try to have at least a couple sort of business working sessions a year, and I would like to propose that we do that in our next meeting. So spend at least half to this meeting. I hope we'll be able to not fully confirm, but at least people make initial decisions. Since we're missing 2 people, we won't be able to confirm all the working groups and points of contact, but by February 3rd, I hope we will know who's committed to do what, and then those groups can come up with their priority actions during the meeting. So if there's no objection, I would like to do that, make at least half of the February 3rd meeting a working session. So is there any objection to that? Okay, if not, then
No, I think that's a good
we will
idea.
make half of our next meeting a working session. Okay, moving on to item 8, which is to discuss an act to establish and populate working groups and points of contact. So we have a handout with what we had in the past year for working groups and points of contact. The working groups were Corn Neck Road. About halfway through the year, I think we created Ocean Avenue North. There was Public Education and Community Engagement Working Group, which has existed for a while. Data Working Group, the Town Ordinance and Planning Working Group, and Grant Support. So there were 6. And then we had individual points of contact for Great Salt Pond, Marsh Migration, Bach Island Ferry, Galilee, CRMC, and Conservation Commission. There were 2 there. Coastal Institute demonstration site, that also was a new addition during the course of the year. And then one for the Block Island Utility District and the ETIP effort, which ended, but we never saw the final report. So, so to start this discussion, I want to ask, actually, before we get into the discussion of what we might want to change or add to, if we could hear from working group representatives that haven't already had a chance to report out on what they might have been up to since our last meeting. So I feel like we've covered Corn Neck Road. Is there anything additional?
I would just, this is Judy, and I would just lobby that we don't change representation because we're working with contractors, that we, unless there's, I mean, we can add one more person before but that Nigel, Mary, and I are known quantities with these guys, and we've established a good working relationship. I think we should keep that going. Just
Yeah,
my
I would
opinion.
suggest having an addition for the new grant. I think it would, if we can have 4
Yeah,
members, we can have up to 4
yes.
for a working group, given the amount of work that we're likely to, the percentage of our efforts over the coming year are probably going to be largely skewed in that direction. So if there is someone else who would like to join that working group, I personally think having oh, yes.
Well, I'm living here. I'm referring my studies.
Yeah.
for the coming,
Okay. But maybe, so I wanted to just get updates right now from any working group that hasn't had a chance to give an update, just for what's been going on the past month, and then we can talk about the actual moving forward, the working groups. So Corn Neck Road, there's nothing else that hasn't already been mentioned. There was a December 17th meeting and upcoming meeting January 21st. Ocean Avenue North End. So I don't know if you got you and Valerie,
Actually,
what's,
that has temporarily reached a dead end because according to Mike Shea, the work that needs to be done has to be done by the state, and it isn't even a lot of money. It's not a big project. And the state is keeps on stalling and our
This is-
department keeps coming, reminding them that that work needs doing and it's not getting done.
You're talking about work on,
Ocean Avenue
but on
North.
the road or on the
It
water?
involves, you see, some catch basins don't work properly
Mhm.
and the angle of the road is off in some areas. So according to Mike, the solution is rather simple. But it's just not, it's out of our hands.
I do think, well, maybe there's a belief that we shouldn't do an assessment. So let's revisit whether this working group makes sense in 2026. Public Education Community Engagement Working Group. I don't think there was a meeting in the past month. Data Working Group.
Like I say, everything is done.
Okay,
Today we need to transfer to the town.
okay.
And if there is any issue, anything, we will help. But,
Okay. Town Ordinance and Planning Working Group.
Yeah, I have something. Being a member of the planning board, I often felt that our checklist for special use permit and development review was lacking in sea level rise issues. And I was curious to see what is required in terms of a checklist for building permits that are received by right, that don't need to come to us. And so I went to Chapter 11 of the Natural Resource Protection, Article 5 on soil erosion and sediment control. And I would like to share with you what I learned. Poor Kim, she knows this stuff by heart, but here we go. The town finds that excessive quantities of soil are eroding from certain areas of the town that are undergoing development. It is unlawful to increase the potential for soil erosion. Applicant must submit a soil erosion and sediment control plan to be approved by a building official. The plan shall be prepared by a registered engineer or landscape architect and must be consistent with the current Rhode Island Soil Erosion and Sediment Control Handbook. Copies of plan may be reviewed by Public Works Department, Planning Board, and/or the Conservation Commission. The building official approves the plan and may attach conditions deemed necessary. All work shall be subject to periodic inspections. The town shall have the right to take whatever actions deemed necessary to correct violations, including putting a lien on the property to cover the cost. Now, the ordinance committee, subcommittee is also interested in determining if we need to have ordinances that give people relief in terms of setback and building heights. And the town of New Shoreham complies with the requirements of the National Flood Insurance Act of 1968, which is now amended. The special flood hazard areas are established as a floodplain overlay district. So for us to make an argument with the town council for an ordinance change, we need to establish that there is a need for one. And so I learned that we have a whole slew of zones that are listed on the Washington County Insurance Rate Map, which was amended in 1985 and issued by FEMA for administration of the National Flood Insurance Program, which requires permits for all building projects. And a digital map is available, digital flood insurance rate map, blah, blah, blah. So I first went to the town hall to take a look at the hard copies of these flood maps. And we did a lot of giggling because nobody knew where they were or if they even existed. The interesting thing that I learned, however, once we located them is that they're useless, that you're best off going directly to the digital map online. It shows exactly which structures are vulnerable for certain flooding conditions. My personal hope is that we develop a list of all those structures so that when these people come for a building permit or come to the planning board for a special use permit or a development plan review, that we know immediately where that property is located, number one. And number two, then we can also, we meaning the town, can also decide on what kind of relief, if any, to offer these existing structures.
Just have a quick question.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, there you go.
Sorry to interrupt you. In your inventory list of homes that you would like to see and be available to planning, would you also put land there as well
Of
in your
course.
inventory?
Of course.
Thank
Good
you.
point.
And I believe we had the layer on the GIS.
Yes.
So we have the
Yes.
layer on
Yeah.
the future GIS we're going
Yes.
to have.
Can I say a few words? So you're talking about the FEMA, the federal FEMA flood zone maps.
Yes.
So that is, yes, so that the federal government has the GIS layers, and that's something that's always been on the town's GIS website, the FEMA flood zones. They stopped providing hard copies of those maps, I think in the last update. It used to be that hard copies were available to towns. So I think they no longer provide that hard copy, but so that's why maybe staff wasn't finding the latest version possibly, but of course, the electronic is available multiple locations online. And that is something that the building department flags. So when somebody comes in to pull a building permit, it's something that's within the online permitting system. Our GIS layers are there. And if a property is in a flood zone, that's going to be flagged using the GIS in the town's permitting system. We do a lot of work with flood zone properties with the CRS credit rating system. Towns in, part of a participating community in CRS so that the property owners that have flood insurance get a reduction in their flood insurance premiums due to all the work the town does in flood mitigation. And so there's an annual mailing to all property owners in flood zones to encourage them to get flood insurance and notify them about other resources. So just wanted to give everyone kind of a little background on that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
It's on the GIS.
So Shar, you? with
Just
that?
one
Okay.
little one. Again, the building official is responsible for floodplain management, including enforcement.
Yeah, so and annually, any permits in the flood zone would be, this is all tracked and we provide as part of CRS annual reports and related to any development in the flood zone, which there is typically little to no.
I would love to just be able to hire somebody to list all those properties that are within the flood zones that might need.
We have it.
We have it visually. we
I
just
I
don't
have a list
an
of all,
inventory list. Yeah.
But do you have them listed by plot and?
Yes.
Plat and lot
Yes.
number? Okay.
yeah.
You
Is that
Do
a-
you have that list?
Yes.
I
Is
have a
it
mailing
available?
list. I have with GIS, you can easily get all that.
Oh, cool.
Okay. We only have about 17 minutes left, so quickly, I want to turn to the, and sorry, there was only grants support working group and there's nothing to report there.
Unless anybody wants to help us, we're always looking for reviewers and people to work on the grants.
So moving forward on what we should do for the next year, we had just a few initial thoughts, things that have been flagged to me, and let's open up for discussion about if there's any existing working groups that we want to change or get rid of or add. As mentioned, the Core Neck Working Group would now cover both the ongoing GZA grant funding them and likely the new NIFWIF through RIDM grant focused on Core Neck Road. We've just mentioned Ocean Avenue Working Group is maybe a question mark. I think we came to decide that that was a priority area just because it is sort of most immediate, of most immediate concern. We opted to, we originally had Bridgegate Square as a working group, but we swapped it to Ocean Avenue North. There's never been an assessment done, really, of what the issues are, Ocean Avenue North. So to me, that's still something that could be a priority action, but I think before we have, you know,
Maybe
before we have that, I'm not sure what the
maybe we
working group
can,
do.
Right.
one of the things that we struggled with is to make sure that everything is still on the table for people, that they see that we're still working on stuff, so that maybe that it's instead there's a point of contact, like somebody who,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
when Mike Shea says, "Oh, I need to talk about Ocean
Okay.
Avenue North," there's actually somebody on the committee you can talk to that's been paying attention to it.
Yeah,
Okay.
So just move it. to
Yeah,
the-
So-
do you know what I mean?
Is that,
It's like me and the ferry.
so if there's no objection, um, we could turn the Ocean Avenue North Working Group into a point of contact
Yes.
instead. Are there
Agreed.
any objections to that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so we will do that. There was, I think it was you, Nigel, who suggested that perhaps we should have a working group or point of contact on septic and well issues related to sea level rise. Mhm.
Water table issues.
Yeah,
I mean, after I brought that up at the Coastal Institute chat, someone told me, and I can't remember who it is now, that there were a number of homes this past summer whose wells ran dry. And, you know, if this is becoming an issue, it's something we should be on top of. Because obviously it affects, in the end, it affects everyone.
mhm.
And it certainly impacts things like, you know, the saturation population of the island and things like that. If the water table is not keeping abreast of the demand.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it'd be good to have something like that in general. And
I
clearly
agree.
Coastal Institute are
Yeah.
interested in
Yeah.
that as a potential issue. And, you know, Malcolm Spalding sent us the name of this guy at URI who focuses on this as an issue. He hasn't done any work, I don't think, on Block
Block
Island,
Hmm.
but, you know, maybe he could. You said something in the minutes, Judy, you mentioned a name that I was not.
Tom Boving.
Tom Boving.
He's the gentleman who came and was at Valerie's table at our event last summer. And he's the fellow who was instrumenting the wells and showed me that there's a tidal signal in my well up on the plains.
He's monitoring several wells.
Yes, he's had a project. I think the project is over, but yeah, he's been out here.
It sounds like it would be good to get him to talk to the committee.
We should.
Yeah, I think he's talked to us once.
Where's he from?
Well, you all right?
He's another,
Yeah.
Is he also on the Coastal Institute?
I don't know if he's a
Senior
senior
fellow?
fellow. I
Yeah.
don't know. I
Okay.
can find out.
Personnel?
Oh, yeah, all 250.
So,
What you had done, we did spend a lot of time also on GIS to review the map of the water table for the island. So didn't exist in digital way. So now everybody can access the water table on the island. So maybe anybody who has the knowledge of the well and all of this, look at this map.
so returning us maybe to just the question of, do we want to have a working group or a point of contact on well water issues?
I would say you start with a point of contact, and if the workload increases, then we add, if there's action items and you need help, whoever's the point of contact asks for help in the committee. Does that make sense?
So, Tommy, where did you get that information from?
I believe there was somebody in the 80s or 90s. I don't remember exactly, but there is document who mapped the whole water table of the island from your eye, I believe, and we just trace it to be able to do a digital map.
Okay, but that's a sort of a snapshot. Okay, so that's obviously the problem. I mean, well, it could be the problem. I mean, we need data as to changes rather than.
What you can see now is when there is the sea level rise, when you overlap with the weather table.
Okay, I'm gonna, if there's no objection, I am going to propose that we establish a point of contact for well water issues.
Mhm.
And are there any objections?
No.
Okay, so we will do that.
And
so.
Bob Boving is a senior fellow at the
Please.
club.
Okay.
And it sounds like there's enough interest in this. Maybe it could also be a topic for a meeting with a guest speaker. Another question was well, maybe just a point to make that since the comprehensive plan is coming up, that the ordinance and planning working group, if we choose to keep it, will probably serve as points of contact on comprehensive plan inputs. So if you're interested in being part of that, think about that committee. There's only two of us plus Nora's, a lot of help from Nora. Basically, Nora does most of the work. The data working group, as Jean-Louis has mentioned, has completed the work on the interactive GIS map with many layers. But so there, I think, reevaluating whether there's a need for this group still. There were certainly other items that were part of its original scope.
Could be one of them.
So I think maybe, so originally the priority actions for that working group were to translate sea level rise data into action plans, study precedents and what others are doing, collaborate with other stakeholders working on models, plans, et cetera, related to Black Island coastal resilience. So, but what it actually ended up doing was really focusing on the GIS map. So I know, Judy, you also had added as a point of contact for all the different research efforts going on.
Yes, that is, so I've been acting as a liaison with several universities, the same way Nora has been acting as a liaison with Brown recently. And yeah, but I thought it was actually becoming a significant enough workload that I thought it should be peeled off and identified in case.
So I guess the question for me is, should that be folded into a working group that's so more, I don't know if data is the right word for it, but
It's more like liaison.
liaison to ongoing research
Yeah,
efforts?
yeah, and university, yeah. And yeah, whether it's already me and Nora, so but I don't care if you call it a point of contact or a working group.
Does anyone have a feeling about that? I would go with,
I said I don't care if it's a working group or a point of contact.
for
Contacts.
research.
Yeah. No, I want to keep doing that.
She loves that.
That's the good stuff.
So then that brings us back to, do we still need the data working group?
I think what we really need from the data side is the web presence and managing that web presence. It's how do we get the data that we, onto or available to people onto the web in some way. I think that right now, anyway, maybe in the future, we'll want to do something else with data, but right now it seems like that's our biggest challenge, is that the web presence.
We transfer the need to Alison.
Right, so then that's done.
At least for a month, 2 months, we can look at it, take some time.
Yeah.
And if we need to do something else, we can.
So let's maybe turn this into a point of contact also, which is the GIS point of contact.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so if there are no objections,
No.
I propose that we create 2 new points of contact. One, which is point of contact for ongoing research efforts, and the other is point of contact for the GIS.
Yeah,
agreed.
Okay. Are there any objections? Okay, we will do that. Um, finally, yeah, that was all the things I had. Does anyone have any other
I have a thought.
proposals? Yep.
I have a thought. First of all, I personally want to caution us against being overloaded. The pavilion subject is going to be an emotionally something or other.
Exciting.
Opportunity, right. And I want us to be very careful and respectful of all the varying opinions and feelings around town. And I personally, I'm speaking for myself, I personally think that we can best accomplish that by informing people with information, not as opposed to coming up with suggestions right away. This is what we should do and that's what we should do. Collect as much information about this situation so that people can digest that and then discuss possible solutions so that they're more open to hearing alternate solutions. And I think that that is going to take quite a bit of time and effort on our part. So that's caution number one, but I have a suggestion in terms of the public information and community engagement group. I personally see us being a group that really summarizes or coordinates everything that's being collected by grants, ordinance, and the Corneck Road Committee. So that I wanted to suggest that we have one person from each of those committees to be a member of the Public Input Committee. Follow my drift?
Yeah. No,
Yeah, you want to be careful because you can only have 4 people.
Well,
we
there are
already-
only there are 4 committees. And so if somebody from Grant,
We got Ann?
from Town Ordinance and Planning,
Yeah, you got that.
and
one.
from Corneck, the GCA whole business.
Yeah,
we got it.
you got it. You got them
I
covered.
think that will probably happen, but I think that's a good point that there's overlapping
Yes.
roles there and that the different working groups, just even, you might not be the community engagement working group, but you have a role on thinking about how whatever you're working on, it can be how the public can be informed and how we can engage the community. So, right.
Can we move on just very quickly to the budget item before we adjourn, just so that I can get that out?
Yeah, so let me, before we move on, I'm gonna put these sign up sheets out for people here to sign up for what you're interested in. I'll revise the points of contact. So basically, we're getting rid of one of the working groups, which is data. So we'll have 4 working groups.
And what about
and
Bridgegate
We'll have
Square?
more.
I would like to eliminate
points.
Bridgegate Square for
Well,
now.
that, actually, I had already replaced that because we had
Oh.
replaced that with
Okay.
Ocean Avenue North. So I'm counting 4 as grants, ordinances and planning, Corneck Road, and public education
Yeah.
and information. Then the points of contact, Great Salt Pond Marsh Migration, Block Island Ferry, Galilee, CRMC, Conservation Commission, Coastal Institute Demonstration Site, unless, do we want the Coastal Coastal Institute Demo Site to be combined?
Yes.
Judy? with
Yeah,
the
that's just
other
university
research? Okay,
liaison.
so one.
Yeah.
And then BIUD, and we're gonna add GIS and Ocean Avenue as POCs.
Yeah.
Okay. So on to the next item, which is the budget request.
Yeah, I really wanted, because I think budget meetings are going to start pretty soon for the next round for the town. I wanted to propose for consideration by this committee that we request a town position for a coastal resilience officer or something like that, to make it a more permanent and make it a town position that has some authority, that has the ability to execute funds and stuff like that, the stuff that we can't do. Anyway, we had been for a couple of years, said that was our highest priority. We kind of have been asking for it every year. And, but anyway, I just wanted to put it out there for you guys to consider because the budget process is starting.
Do we want a definition? Or do we want a definition, sort of flesh out what that would be? I know we've talked about it for a few years and many other communities that are our size and have similar, issues have had this position for years.
Right, and I have, I know they can hear me from there. And I have a couple of examples of position descriptions that I've collected from like Newport and a couple of other municipalities that have this position. So yeah, it's easy enough to put that together, yeah.
And does it have to be a full-time
No,
position?
absolutely not. No, I think Allison has proved to us that it doesn't have to be. Yes, ma'am?
But
I'm just curious as to why that coordinator's position wouldn't be funded by some grant money.
well, that's actually the question I had, because there is this, I believe, still an agreement with Orsted, which was going to fund 50,000 a year for 5 years for a resilience coordinator. So,
But we need to request it. Yeah.
we need to request
need
it
to
and
request it
maybe,
to make it
maybe some additional, I don't know if 50,000 is enough for what the scope is. So maybe it's requesting the town contribute additional, but we also don't know the status of that, whether, I don't think anything's been advertised. I don't know if
The town will ask, how much do you need for this? We can't just say we want this position.
50,000 a year for 5 years now.
So the scope of work, of course, is very important.
Yes.
Like, is this person is going to have input on the building permit, on the zoning,
so.
on the conservancy, like the field could be very large.
So should we make a motion on this and noting that we still need to discuss
Yeah.
what we would recommend for a scope of this position, but whether we want our requests for the town budget to
I think we
be
can.
aimed at-
I think we can leave it. We don't need, I think everyone should go away and think about what do we want to ask for money for this year? We don't need to decide right now. If the budget process starts in the next couple of weeks and the meetings start, we can just
Okay.
talk about what we're thinking about and develop, and in the meantime, try and develop position description and a budget.
We haven't received a calendar yet from
No.
the town, right? As
No.
to when we will be scheduled.
Correct.
Okay,
But we know what's coming.
so we will basically put this on the agenda for February 3rd. Then item 10, we already covered it on Leah Hill's community engagement event with Byra. Next meeting's February 3rd, and then I would like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So move.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
I.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned.